The Broncos' playoff chances are officially over after a 34-13 loss in Los Angeles to the Chargers. The Broncos now just one game left in the season. Hello and thank you for joining us for the Broncos Postgame Show. I am Phil Maloney, joined in studio as always by Todd Davis. Todd, the final here, 34-13. This one never really get close.
Yeah, it kind of escaped the Broncos really from the beginning. You saw the Chargers come out and have a long drive and put 7 points on the board early in the game, and it felt like the Broncos were fighting and scratching and clawing, but they really couldn't get back within the game. Every
time they got a little bit of momentum, something wrong would happen. Definitely fighting some personnel issues. 13 players on the COVID list today. Jerry Jeudy, Tim Patrick, Bradley Chubb. I mean, big-time playmakers not able to go for the Broncos here in this one. Let's show you the highlights. Not much went well for the Broncos, especially in the first half. Drew Lock left this game for a little bit, missed the series with a shoulder injury. He returned, and in his very first play back, finds Courtland Sutton 44 yards. You felt like maybe that was the spark this team needed. But, Todd, it set up this fourth down play, and the Philly special, this looked pretty ugly.
Yeah, it was tough because you see where it could have went right. If Kendall Hinton maybe had 1 or 2 more seconds to get that ball to Drew Lock, you feel like it could have worked out, but the San Diego Chargers snuffed it out, and Kendall wasn't able to get the ball off in time.
Nice job by Nasir Adderley. He recognized that right away and got after Kendall Hinton. The idea was right, though. You could see how Hinton could be used that way, but blew it up. Right before halftime, just 14 seconds left here, the Broncos trying to get on the board. A nice play to Melvin Gordon, and it sets up this Brandon McManus 61-yard field goal. Todd, that's the third longest field goal in Broncos history.
Yeah, and a career long for him.
Yeah.
Shout out to Brandon McManus. That's a big-time kick. It definitely gave the Broncos some momentum going into the halftime, so they definitely needed those points when they got them.
17-3 at the break, but the Broncos, got at least they were on the board. In the first play of the fourth quarter here, though, after Chargers just kicked one field goal in the third, it looks like Melvin Gordon scores on 4th and goal. But it's illegal formation, so the Broncos have to settle for a field goal. Makes it 20-6. It felt like, okay, it's still in the mix there, but this thing blew open on the ensuing kickoff. Andre Roberts, 101-yard touchdown return. Todd, what happened?
I feel like guys weren't getting off of blocks. You have too many guys getting hung up with their defender, and then you have too many guys trying to contain the returner. Somebody has to contain, but somebody else has to tackle. You can have too many guys outside the numbers that are forcing them inside and nobody in there making plays. And I feel like that's what happened on this play.
Todd, special teams sometimes is confusing. For most fans, they just say, why don't you just make the tackle? But everybody's got an assignment, right?
Yeah, everybody has an assignment. And sometimes on the kickoff team, you may be blocked by 1 or 2 guys. So it's tough getting off of blocks, and not only getting off a block, but then you have to make a tackle at the same time after running 50 yards to get down there. So it's a lot of moving parts on special teams.
Yeah, and the Broncos, their roster taking a hit, like I mentioned, with the COVID list. You knew that was going to affect special teams too. Never really close after this one. Justin Herbert later on sets the Chargers franchise record with 35 touchdown passes this season. Mike Williams gets behind the defense. The Broncos would add a late touchdown to Noah Fant, but the final in this one, 34-13, Todd. Just a frustrating performance out there in LA.
Yeah, it was tough. I think that going into the game, it was hard having so many key players that we needed to win this game on the COVID list or out with injuries. It felt like it was a long shot from the beginning, and throughout the game, it really didn't feel like there was much hope to really get the win.
Let's go out to SoFi Stadium and check in with Eric Dalala for a post-game wrap-up.
Yeah, Phil, unfortunately, just too much to overcome for the Broncos today as they were eliminated from playoff contention. Too many guys on the reserve COVID-19 list, too many guys out due to injury, and too many mistakes. You have that Deontay Spencer muffed punt. You give up a kick return for a touchdown twice inside the red zone, inside the 5-yard line. You're unable to punch it in once. Kendall Hinton's pass to Drew Lock on a trick play, not quite there in time. And then, of course, an illegal formation on a 4th and 1 to start the fourth quarter. You don't get a touchdown there. The Broncos just aren't going to be able to win like that today, especially shorthanded. The offense continues to have its struggles. Less than 30% on 3rd down, just 1 touchdown. They've got to figure that out. But the big story of the day, no playoffs. So things earlier this afternoon went their way, but just not enough against the Chargers here, and they fall to 4-2 in the last 3 years against Los Angeles.
Thank you very much, Eric. Back here in studio with Todd Davis. Todd, this was Drew Lock's second start of the season, and he played pretty well for the most part yet again.
Yeah, back-to-back weeks. I feel like Drew Lock is trying to show that he can be a piece of this team, whether it's a starter or a backup again for another year, to continue to learn and get better. He's showing that he's qualified to be an NFL quarterback. I love his grit. I know he went in the locker room for a little bit with a shoulder injury, showed his grit and determination, came back, made a big-time throw down the middle as soon as he got back in the game. So I hope that he's able to, continue his path and journey with the Broncos and have a great future.
Yeah, you felt like things were stacked against him without Tim Patrick, Jerry Jeudy, his big playmakers here, but he was still able to move the ball a little bit. Once again, though, it didn't really result in points. His stat sheet looks pretty good, but the Broncos are only able to muster up 13 points today.
Yeah, and like half of that is on him, and half of that is sometimes play calling and, that fourth down, QB
the
Philly special. I feel like that's more so sometimes play calling than it's just on Drew Lock. So I feel like he played good all the way around.
Yeah, his 18 of 25 in the box score, 245 yards, a touchdown, and get this, Todd, his QB rating 116.3.
That's a really good game. That's a really good game.
He didn't turn the ball over again. It seemed like they were going down the field.
I feel like he always shows you that he could potentially be the guy. I think that he's a fighter. I love that he hasn't quit. I know that he lost the starting battle early in the year, but he's continued to fight. He's continued to show his determination, and he continues to show that he wants to be a part of this team, and he's good enough to do so.
You get the sense, though, that he doesn't want to be a backup in this league. He feels like, when you hear from him, he just feels like he really wants to be a starter.
He does, 100%. But who doesn't?
Yeah.
Nobody wants to be a backup. You play that role until you get your opportunity. So I know him. I know his personality. He's a leader. He's a dynamic person, so I know he wants to be at the forefront of that offense and a leader. So he definitely wants to be a starter.
Yeah. Well, here's what he had to say after the Broncos lost this one 34-13.
I think we had a pretty decent rhythm all game. We moved the ball really well. We had a couple 70-plus yard drives. Maybe the rhythm comes in the red zone. Maybe we do need to look at some of the things we're doing when we get a little closer to the red zone. But I was proud of the way the guys that were playing, maybe even some of them for the first time. Dalton gets hurt. Moody's got to come in. Cameron Fleming's playing right tackle. I was proud of the guys that came in and played. Sure. Maybe there's a little bit lack of rhythm, but you also got probably 5-6 guys out there that normally aren't in the flow of the game. They're normally coming off the bench or not even dressing out. I was proud of the way the guys that were in there fought their butt off until the end. We just got to figure out how to finish the drive. But a couple 70-yard drives isn't too bad to me.
So that's Drew Lock post-game at his press conference there. Todd, one bright spot for this Broncos offense was Noah Fant today.
For sure. I feel like he had a great game today, almost 100 yards. The only thing I feel like with Noah, I feel like I need to see this every week. I've gone against him in practice. I've seen what he can do. I feel like he could be one of the best tight ends in the NFL. I've gone against Travis Kelce and Antonio Gates. He's right along those lines with his ability to run after the catch and make people miss. I need him to be this dominant every single game.
Yeah, we saw that one play where he caught it and then he just took up off field. Seemed like he surprised the Chargers defense how fast he was. 6 catches today, 92 yards and a touchdown. What's the key to getting him to do this all the time?
I think they need to create more offense for him. I think they need to create more matchups, one-on-one against linebackers. And then when he does find the ability to get open, get him the ball now so he can run after the catch just like he did on that play. He has the speed. He has the shiftiness and quickness. You got to get him the ball early so he can create.
So you recognize that greatness out on the field with him, huh?
For sure. When he got to camp his rookie year, nobody really wanted to cover him. He was that good. And I feel like he hasn't been able to show that in games, but I think all of his teammates and everybody that has played with him knows he could be that good.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see what next year has in store. Just one game left, though, for the Broncos this year. Let's go out to Los Angeles and check in with Sidney Jones, who's standing outside the Broncos locker room.
Here with Noah Fant. Noah, a disappointing loss here in Los Angeles. Didn't seem like the offense could really get into a rhythm. You guys didn't find the end zone until late in the fourth quarter. What wasn't working for you guys today?
Yeah, I think it was just kind of a messy game for us, honestly. We just had to clean up a lot of stuff in the run game, in the pass game also, and kind of go back to the drawing board. Obviously, if we can score, we just got to figure out how to do that multiple times in a game. So that's the biggest thing.
For you personally, you had a great game. I mean, 6 receptions, 92 yards, and a touchdown. That touchdown being a career high of 4 touchdowns on the season for you. What does it mean for you personally to have the season that you are having?
Yeah, I mean, it's good. I expected a lot more this season, honestly, personal expectations. But however I can help my team is the biggest thing. And whether that's scoring late in the game or early in the game, wherever it is, I just want to be able to do that. So I was happy I was able to convert on that play.
One more game left in this season. What do you hope to see this offense, accomplish and improve upon, with one final week left?
I think the biggest thing is just consistency. Consistently making plays, consistently moving the ball, consistently getting first downs. That's huge for us and somewhere we've lacked in. So hopefully we can improve in that.
Appreciate your time, Noah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sydney. Todd, let's talk about the other side of the ball here for this Broncos defense. Came into this one with the #1 scoring defense in the NFL, but without Bryce Callahan, Jonathan Cooper, Bradley Chubb today, gave up 34 points. One of them was the kickoff return, but still 34 points allowed from the Broncos.
Yes, tough. This defense is complicated. And as much as you want to say it's next man up or you want to plug and play new guys, you have to be someone who's been in this defense for a long amount of time to be able to step in and play well. It's not really something that you can learn on the fly or within 1 week or step up and do. It's something that you have to learn over time. You need a full training camp and a full season to really understand Vic Fangio's defense.
A lot of moving parts, and when you call the play, you got to know exactly what you're doing.
Yeah, for sure, because everybody plays off of one another. And as weeks go on, names change for calls, and red might mean one thing this week and mean another thing next week. And you have to be able to flip your brain over 20 times within the week as much as he wants to change how defense is played and be ready to go on Sunday.
And do you think the last time the Broncos played the Chargers, Pat Surtain II has 2 interceptions, really made life hard for Justin Herbert? Do you think the Chargers were like they had something to prove here a little bit today?
I think they came in to the game feeling like they wanted to play better. I still feel like the Broncos held them pretty well in the air. They had a couple big plays over the top that they made, but Pat Surtain had another good game, I feel like, this game. And I feel like had they had all their pieces, I think it would have looked more like last game than how it looked today.
Yeah, Surtain had several nice pass breakups. That's a good point. And Herbert's numbers were not through the roof, even though he had that big touchdown to Mike Williams. Let's go back out to Los Angeles one more time and hear from Sidney Jones.
Outside the Broncos locker room here with Jonas Griffith. Jonas, obviously a disappointing loss here in LA. For you guys, as a whole, not making the playoffs this season, kind of what was Vic's message to you guys in the locker room after the game?
Just to stick together as a team and just to come back on Wednesday and come back to practice and meetings and just prepare. Got to come out with the win this next game against the Chiefs.
For you personally, you've come in the past couple weeks and have made an immediate impact at inside linebacker. What does that mean to you to contribute to this team, and especially within the last couple games of the season?
It means the world to me. It means the world just to contribute on defense and just get out there and just help the team any way possible that I can, and just to go out there and try to get some wins.
Final week of the season here. What's the goal, for this next week, and what's the goal for you guys going up against the Chiefs?
Obviously, the goal is to get a win. I think that would be a good thing to go out the season and finish the season on a good note with a win against the Chiefs.
Appreciate your time, Jonas. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sydney. Time to wrap up the post-game show here now. Todd, what's the mindset now heading into this final game against the Chiefs?
I feel like this game is a game where you really let the young guys play and you see what they can do. You don't really need Justin Simmons and Kareem Jackson or Bradley Chubb out there. You know what those guys can do. This is a game where you see where the rest of your roster, how it'll shake up going into next season. I know Vic Fangio, there's a lot of questions of whether he'll be the Broncos head coach next year, so he's going to want them to go out with all their players and get a win. But I think as far as the overall for this team for the future, You let your young guys play, and you see how it shakes out.
It's got to be frustrating, though, Todd. 7-9 now. It guarantees a 5th consecutive losing season for the Broncos. Fans, they're not used to that, and these players, they're not used to that too. For a lot of them come from winning programs in college or whatnot. After a while, the losing takes a toll, huh?
I think it's frustrating for the players, and I think Super Bowl 50 is not too far in the past, so I think everybody's still reminded of that. And when you're out in the city, people are talking about Super Bowl 50, and these guys are like, well, we're here now. We want to win now. Super Bowl 50 is important to me and all the guys that were on that roster. But for the people that weren't, I think they're done hearing about it, and they're ready to create their own Super Bowl memories.
Do you feel like this team maybe underperformed a little bit, considering the amount of talent? They want to make their own memories. Seemed like this team was headed in that direction, but now it's three straight losses.
Yeah, I think that they didn't necessarily turn out the team to be that we thought they would. I think that it was just a lot of things throughout the season, whether it was injuries at the wrong time, people going on COVID lists, trading Von Miller, which was a business decision. It was a lot of things that kind of happened within the season that I think fans didn't expect and kind of shook up the team a little bit.
Regardless, if they were able to end the season with a win against the Chiefs, that would be nice to head into the offseason with a little bit of a good taste.
That would give them a lot of momentum going forward to finally beat the Chiefs, even though it's the last game, just leaving with the taste of victory in your mouth, and then just carrying that momentum on to the next season. That would mean a lot. And
snapping that streak against the Chiefs. And the Chiefs, a lot to play for next week. They're not going to be resting their guys. That is going to do it for us. The Broncos fall 34-13 to the Chargers. For Todd Davis, I'm Phil Milani. This has been the Broncos Postgame Show.